Good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone is doing okay today. I wanted to give you an update on the coronavirus and what impact that is having on real estate investors like yourself. And so, again, I'm Mr. Ray, Mr. Ray's Real Estate, and I'm up here to give you this update. So I want to start off by talking to you a little bit about the rules for this call. Make sure that you're muted on this call. Make sure you ask some questions, and then I want you to provide me some feedback when it's all said and done. So our agenda today, we're going to talk about the current market situation that's in real estate, what's going on with the government, what are some of the landlord-tenant issues that I'm seeing, and what's happening when people try to borrow money. We'll also discuss how real estate investors are responding to it, more specifically, one of the things that I'm seeing going on, and then what the impact is to me and my real estate investment. So one of the things that I'm doing, and I want to introduce this whole concept around the business that I'm putting forth is I want to create millionaires. My focus is on making minority, so it's minority real estate millionaires that I'm trying to make, but it's inclusive of everyone. But my focus, my niche, is on the minority group because I think we have a lot of potential there. But I'm not leaving anybody out. You know, when Jesus came, he said, "I came to seek and to save the lost," and he was talking about the Jews, and that was his focus. But guess what? We've got the opportunity to take advantage of his grace also, and he allowed the Gentiles to come in. So grace was for everybody, but his focus was on getting the Jews saved, and we got in by default, and I thank him for that. So while my focus is on the minority community, I'm accepting anybody that's excited and wants to get into this real estate game. And what I'm trying to do is build a group of investors that's going to change our community, change our families, create that legacy wealth that we haven't been able to seem to be able to pass on to the next generation. So that's what I'm building, a group of people that are geared up to go out and to attack this real estate opportunity with knowledge, skills, and with the abilities that I'm going to share with them. And so we'll start that. I'll be having these weekly meetings discussing the real estate market and what I see is going on. Those that are involved with me in this, you're going to have full access to me, to my strategies, to all the tools and all the expertise and all the experience that I have gained in this real estate game over the last 18 years. So that's going to be monumental for you. And I want to make sure that you understand that I'm doing this for free. I'm giving you this information for free, but guess what? It's not free. It's going to cost you some time. It's going to cost you some effort. It's going to cost you commitment to be able to get in and understand this real estate game and maximize and optimize the opportunities that they're going to be there for you. I'm here to help you make that happen. So I'll be doing that through videos, podcasts. I'm here for you, telephone support, whatever you need. I'm going to give you hands-on experience in this market. My goal is I'm making disciples, right? I'm out here building a group of people that are able to take what they learn and then also help other people to get there. So come along for the journey. It's going to be a great journey. Let's get into what's going on right now with the coronavirus. So these are some of the words that's describing what's going on today, right? We've never seen nothing like this before. This pandemic, these are words that people only use once in a lifetime, but now we're using it at one time. We're talking about this one particular disease, unpredictable, unprecedented, unfathomable. That's a big word, but that's what we're talking. This disease has impacted every area of our life. And so there's no way getting around it. So how are we going to respond to it? What are we going to do to respond to it? There's two ways you can respond to any opportunity out there. You can be a pessimist and all you see, woe is me. What am I going to do? How am I going to get there? Or you can be an optimist and you can see the opportunity that's going to be here before you. Because I promise you, in the next 6 months to a year, there's going to be so many opportunities out there for you to take advantage of if you're ready. And my goal is to make sure you're ready, but I got to get you the right frame mind and right attitude. I mean, I see so many people, and people are impacted. I'm not downplaying the fact people haven't lost jobs. People are having a hard time making a living. I understand all of that, and I feel it. And people are actually dying. I mean, it hasn't touched me personally, but I see it on TV, and you see it too. But at the end of the day, you got to remain optimist. This too shall pass. We'll get through this. We'll be all right. But we got to keep the optimistic view, or else this thing will take you down, because it's in fact in every area of your life, financially, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, you name it. This particular disease is impacting it. So what are we seeing going on from a global standpoint? Again, the greatest impact, those words I just showed you, unprecedented. That's what's going on. Stock market is falling 30, 50%. The energy market is falling. Every major industry is shut down right now. Every aspect of our lives have been impacted by this. Right? Unemployment is at an all-time high. All global commerce is shut down. No planes are flying anywhere. Only essential services are happening. Now we got this new term, social distancing. I mean, that's going to be with us for a while, people. And social distancing is going to impact our lives, I believe, from here on out. So let's talk about what the federal response has been. So what are the feds doing? So the feds came out and they said, we got $2 trillion that we're going to put out here, and we're going to make sure that we get this economy back started again. So that stimulus is coming in the form of, they're supporting the financial markets out there. They're giving bailout money to the small businesses and the large businesses alike. Individuals that are under $99,000 are going to get some help. For those that make less than $72,000 are going to get at least the $1,200 payment. And I think a lot of people have already received some of that money. So that's going to help. And what they're trying to do is get this thing kick-started and get us back to working and being able to provide for our families. One of the other things they're doing is they're going to let you withdraw up to $100K from your 401K without that 10% penalty. You get that penalty. If you're 59 and a half, you draw it out before 59 and a half, then your age of 59 and a half, then they're going to hit you with that penalty. But now they're saying, no, we're not going to do that because you've been impacted. But a lot of those 401Ks have gone down 40, 50%. So it might be time for you to draw a little bit of that money out. If you don't have a job, you don't have a way to support yourself, might be an opportunity for you to take that out without penalty. And then they're allowing forbearance on mortgages. So if you got a mortgage today and it's a federal mortgage, they're backing it. They're saying that you don't have to pay that for 60, 90 days. So what's going to happen after that 60, 90 days? Several things. You can either be required to pay it back. They can require it all at once, or they can put it on the end of the loan. So it's still not determined yet what they're going to do with that. Then they're restricting all foreclosures and evictions for 90 days. So we're going to talk about what that means to us as real estate investors. So what's the impact on real estate? Well, you can't evict anybody for 90 days. So how do you get your rent? So that's a huge impact. And I want to talk about what some people are doing around that. And then we talked about no mortgages. You can get up to 90 days without paying your mortgage. In Texas, in the retail sales market, real estate agents can't even go out and show homes anymore. They have to do it either virtually, or they got to send somebody there, have a lockbox there, allow the tenant or the prospective buyer to go in, view the property, and then go. But the actual agent can't even be there due to social distancing rules. So, I mean, a lot of impacts here. Not sure where that's all going to end at. Also, banks have really tightened down through this. With so many people losing their jobs, 6 million people filing for unemployment. I mean, the banks are saying, hey, hold up, we gotta tighten things up here. So now they're requiring more money down, 20, 30% down, and they're also requiring a higher what we say is a higher credit score that you're going to have in order to even qualify for those loans. So the banks are tightening down, and the money may not be there, especially on investment property. And again, social distancing, it impacts every area, especially if you're a rehabber or things like that. You got to have contractors out there. You got to be meetings for prospective tenants. I mean, all that has been impacted. I like this saying right here, a little Rayism. Life is 10% of what happens to me and 90% of how I react to it. So it's not about what happens to you, it's how you respond to it. So I'm encouraging everyone to keep an upbeat attitude. I mean, it's going to help you and your family during this time. There's no need to be, woe is me. It's time to say, okay, how can I make the best of this bad opportunity? It's happening to everybody, but everybody's not going to respond the same way. How are you going to respond? I say keep that positive mental attitude. It's going to help you. So we talk about some more impacts. One of them is this is a biggie right here, because if you have rental property and if you got mortgages on those rental properties and tenants are not paying those bills, then you're going to have a problem, right? Because you rely upon that income from that rent to pay those mortgages. And if the tenant's not paying, how are you going to pay your mortgage, right? Homeowners are not paying their mortgage. Banks are not lending money, another big impact. People are not moving during this time. So if you're in the rental business, you got a vacant property, it's going to be hard for you to find a tenant right now. And then again, how do you even screen to make sure that these tenants are going to have money to get in your property? So a lot of impacts there. And then it's going to be hard if you're in a rehab of finding available contractors that's going to be able to do that upgrade for you. More impacts. There are no live auctions. The sheriff's not having any sales. No auctions are going on, period, because of social distancing. Now, the wholesalers are very active because they've got inventory right now that they're trying to get rid of. And so I believe some wholesalers are going to be trying to unload some property, and there may be some opportunity. If you got cash, to get in there and cut some very, very sweet deals with some of these wholesalers. Lots of homes are going to be hitting the market. People are losing their job. They don't know where the money's coming from. They got these high bank notes. And so I think people are really going to be out there trying to sell their home during this time. The problem is there might not be many buyers because the buyers have lost their job. The banks are increasing the lending requirements, and people can't even go out there and buy a property. So if you don't have cash to buy a property, it's going to be hard for you to get credit during this time. So again, big impact. We talked about they're tightening the rules. Now, a lot of people are refinancing. Again, it's the same problem though. If you can't buy a new home, it's probably going to, with the stringent qualifying requirements. If you can't buy, how are you going to refinance, right? Because they got the same rules for buying as they do for refi. So if you don't have a 700 credit score and you don't have your job is in good standing, it's going to be hard for you to qualify. So how has COVID-19 impacted me? So my current portfolio, I have 20 homes. My gross monthly rent is around $6,000 a month. I currently pay mortgages on some of those property up to $6,000 a month. I own 11 of those 20 properties free and clear. And so if you know me and you know anything about the minority millionaires, is that I always tell my students that you need to have at least 3 months of a gross income on each property that you have. For instance, I have these 20 properties, I grow 16,000 a month. 3 times that is what I need to have set away. And so for me, not only do I have a reserve for my properties, which is the 45,000 for my properties, I also have 6 months for my personal needs, right? So my personal needs is 7,000 a month. I make sure I have 6 months of that, and that's where I get the 90,000 reserve. So this is money that I have sitting there in a money market account. It's dead money. It's not being invested. It's not doing, but it is security for me to know that I've got cash reserves there in case this deal lasts for long than I think it is. I believe 3 to 6 months. It's not going to be over, but at least people are going to be back to work. At least people are going to, and businesses are going to be open, and it's going to be, the economy is going to be moving again. So I do believe that's going to happen, but it may not be the same. We may have new normals. We may have to do things differently. All those things are possible. So let's talk about a little bit of impact on my April rent collections. April 1, 18 of my 20 tenants have paid in full. So they didn't miss a beat. I did waive rent for one particular property. One of my tenants was impacted. I think because her daughter or niece is impacted by disease, so she has to watch her their quarantine. She's unable to work. I just waived the rent for her. She's been with me, I believe, over 10 years, so I'm not worried about her going anywhere. So I told her, don't worry about this month's rent, and I might have to do it again for another couple of months, but I can do that because I have cash reserved. Now, one tenant's lost his job and has been unable to pay this month, and I'm still negotiating with him. His rent's $950. So far, he's paid me $250. I told him we'll just carry over the other for the next couple of months, and we'll figure out each month that he's impacted. At the end of the day, once he's back up and running again, he's been a good tenant of mine. He's never missed a month paying rent prior to now. I'm going to work with him because when he gets back on his feet, and if I'm able to do for him what I'm doing for him and giving him slack and letting him know he doesn't have to worry about a roof over his head, I promise you he's never going to leave me. So I'm building that good rapport with my tenants. Let's see here. So also, I'm not actively seeking any new deals right now, unless it's just a deal that I can't refuse. Normally, I don't pay any more than 80% of the after repair value. During this time, I'm even lowering that. If it ain't 50 to 60% of the after repair value, I'm probably not even going to look at it, because my deal is I'm going to save my money up. In the next 6 months to a year, I'll be able to cherry pick anything that I want, right? The other thing, I did have an impact. I was in the process of refinancing one of my properties, and right when we was ready to do the appraisal is when everything hit. The bank shut down, they stopped. So they gave me my money back and say, hey, after this is over, we may come back in and we may continue with that refinance that I have on that property. And also, I'm only doing emergency maintenance for the properties that I have. I mean, if it's not burning down, if it's not flooded, if it's just a door creaking or something like that, I'm not sending anybody out to do any maintenance during this time. It's emergency only. So most of you all that's been around me for a while, you know that I have certain rules that I abide by, and these are the criteria that I use when I'm thinking about buying property. And my goal and my whole strategy is around single family properties that I buy, I rehab, and then I put them to work for me, right? I don't sell any properties. I'm a buy and hold real estate investor. So based on that, you know, when you buy a property, I think the first thing you need to do is get your cash reserves up and make sure you got 3 months of reserves. So if I have a property that I'm leasing for $1,000, I need to make sure I got $3,000 set aside in an account for emergencies only on that property. Also, when I'm looking at a property, I'm looking to see, is it going to cash flow me? Because at the end of the day, that's how I make money, on my cash flow. So the property has got to pay for the principal, the interest, the taxes, the insurance, the maintenance, the vacancies. All that has to be paid for. In addition to that, I have to see $300 cash flow that's going to flow in my pocket every month after the tenant pays me that rent every month. That is a minimum for me. That's just the way I like it. I mean, I can cherry pick and I can make sure I get that. A lot of people say, well, if I'm making $100, it's fine. Well, for you, that might be good. For me, I'm in it to make sure that I'm making at least $300 after all expenses have been paid. The other thing is, I always buy at least 20% below the market value. I never pay market value for any rental property. That's just not what I do. I can't make money. I tell people, you make money when you buy property, not when you sell it. So every time that I'm buying a property, I'm at least 20% below market. I always get a 30-year loan to maximize cash flows, because the lower the loan, the more cash flow I'm going to have on the property. Now, I may end up paying that property off earlier than 30 years, but I at least want the flexibility to have the lowest payment that I can have every month to cash flow that property. And then I'm going to use the proceeds to accelerate paying off debt. Remember I said during this time, you need to have as least leverage as you can have. I have half of my properties paid off, the other half are not. I'm still in pretty good shape, but you got to figure out, do I want all this extra leverage or do I want properties paid off? I'm kind of in the middle. I like 50-50. I like being able to take advantage of other people's money, but at the same time, I make sure I have those cash reserves. And then also always invest your cash flow and refinance the property and buying more. We'll talk a little bit more about that burst strategy in my next few slides. And then never purchase a property if it doesn't meet the 1% rule. I can rule out most properties that I look at from day one. If it doesn't meet my 1% rule, I stop looking, I go on to the next deal. 1% rule simply says that if a property leases for or if I buy a property for $100,000, at a minimum, the rent has to be 1%. In that case, if it's a $100,000 property, I got to be able to rent it for at least $1,000 a month, or I'm not even going to look at it. And then again, only purchase properties that meet that criteria. So what are you doing right now, investors? Well, I'm telling all my newbie investors, don't even do anything right now. Just sit tight, sit still, and start your education process. Learn everything you can about real estate, and I'm going to be feeding that stuff to you. I'm going to be giving you examples. I'm going to be helping you, giving you reading material. We're going to be doing analysis, but the most important thing you can do right now is learn and get your money right? Because I believe in 6 months to a year, it's going to be time to pull the trigger. And for you seasoned investors, continue to look at deals, and if you got cash and available credit, by all means go out there and cut some deals, but make sure that you tighten your criteria a little bit and make sure you're only getting the best deals out there. And then all investors, I'm saying to everybody, you ought to be reducing your expenses and increasing your income during this time. Now is the time to get your money right. You got to reduce those extra expenses, and you got to figure out how you can increase your income. So, some of the future discussions that we're going to be having, I'm going to be telling you how you can set your real estate goals, what you need to do to find discount properties. I mean, all these topics I'm going to be covering and more. So here's my guy right here, right? He's ready. When this crash is over, baby, I'm about to make some money. And so that should be your mindset. Get your money right. Get down in there and read these books and get your understanding, develop the skills that you need so you can take advantage of the opportunity that's coming, right? Again, I'm not going to go into this in detail, but I always say, don't be a consumer, be an investor. Rich people invest, poor people consume. Buy vehicles, buy cars, stuff that's going to depreciate. Rich people buy stuff that's going to appreciate, like real assets. And this is the holy grail. This is the holy grail for income producing property. Cash flow, baby. I don't really care what the house looks like. I won't care what the numbers look like. You hear me say all the time, don't fall in love with the house, fall in love with the numbers. These are the types of numbers that you want to see, and this is how you become a millionaire. And this is my strategy. This is a strategy I knew. I didn't develop it. It's out there, but the crux of this is you always want to buy properties at 20% discount or whatever the market value is. You want to rehab that property, pour money into it up to 75% of the value of the property. You want to turn around and rent that property and have a minimum cash flow of 200. I have 300, but I'm going to go ahead and say, for most people, 200 is a good net cash flow. Refinance that property, take that money back out, and then turn around and do it again. And of course, you know how I feel about the stock market. If you've been in the stock market, you've taken a hit, everybody's taking a hit, right? But in real estate today, as I look at my real estate portfolio today, and I look at my stock portfolio is off 30-40%. My real estate is still worth what it was yesterday. I'm still collecting rent. So as of right now, real estate has held up better than the stock market. And I expect that it's always going to hold up better than the stock market. So that's the end of the presentation today. I thank you guys for stopping by. Hit me up. You know how to find me. Mr. Ray, I'm in it to win it. Thank you very much, and we'll be talking to you guys later.